Welcome everyone to the Trust Engine 10X Tuesday Mastermind. We're excited. As the host today, Todd Bookspan, founder of Win by Noon, on behalf of Dave and everyone over there at Trust Engine and Mortgage Coach, welcome. It is technically a 10X Tuesday takeover by myself and a good friend of our community, Dan Keller. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, good morning. You guys are in the sun. You're making me feel horrible. I'm up here in the pouring down rain in Seattle, and both you guys are sitting down there in Arizona. What is it, like 70, 80 degrees?
It's only like 60 something this morning. Actually, it's nice. I'm sitting in the sun. I'm feeling the rays. I was actually a little chilly a few moments ago in the shade. So I think it's only gonna be high in the high 70s today, Dan. I don't want to disappoint you, but
Okay,
it's definitely dry. Definitely dry.
good.
Well, we're always excited when we have you in the community. As I told you via text when we were catching up, it's been too long, and I always love it because not only do you come to share what you know, you're actually friends who are super abundant and willing to share their knowledge as well. So why don't you go ahead? I think everyone knows who you are, but why don't you give a little background on you, and then let's introduce Michelle.
Yeah, so I'm up here in the Seattle marketplace, and I've been in the mortgage industry since 2008. This call today is not about me. It's about who I'm with. And I am with Michelle Wilson with EXP. She runs, in my opinion, I don't know, maybe there's a bigger one out there. I don't know, but the largest real estate group, if not in Washington State, in many of the West Coast states. I think, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, over 700 agents in your community. Yeah, and they dominate listings. They've got, I think, the #1 spot in regards to listing inventory. And I got connected with Michelle and her partner about a year and a half ago, and just super impressed with how they run their organization. It's a coaching company. They literally run a coaching company that sells real estate. They coach up all their people, and they're working on their skills every single day. Part of that involves setting goals. Part of that involves running plays and following a process that feeds into goal accomplishment. And so today we're wrapping up 2024. Today is all about goal planning and goal setting and vision planning with your real estate partners. So as a mortgage professional, been in the mortgage industry since 2008. I don't know, top 1% or so since 2016. I've been coached since 2014. And so I know how to set goals. I know how to work every single day toward those. And one of my best lunch and learns for real estate agents for the last probably 6 to 8 years has been business planning. And so I'm hosting lunch and learns for them, but I'm also going around, and I've been in 4 offices in the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to continue that tour through the end of the year teaching business planning. And what you're going to learn today is a little bit how I frame business planning to my real estate agents, but you're going to get to see Michelle Wilson's going to teach you and show you and give you all the information. So don't worry about, you can take notes if you want, but she's going to give you a lot of deliverables and goods that you can take with and reproduce and teach yourself. But she's going to show you firsthand how she does it in her organization. And a big part of how she's grown her organization to 700 plus agents is because they're very, very clear on where they're going. And when it comes to goal setting, goal planning, vision planning, you've got to be crystal clear on 2 things. You've got to be very clear on where you're at right now, and you got to be very clear on where you're going. I know it sounds super simple, but if you're not realistic with your current reality, and then also realistic with where you're going, I can't tell you how many times I talk to mortgage loan officers. In my region, I run 2 branches, and I have a leadership role in a region where I have about 100 loan officers in our region. And I can't tell you how many times between loan officers and real estate agents, you talk to them about what they want to do in 2025. And they're like, well, I want to close 50 units. And I was like, great. How many did you close this year? 12. Okay, that's 3X. You know, and I don't know if any of you guys listening, how many of you guys have ever doubled in 1 year? Okay, it's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing, because when you double your volume in a short period of time, it creates chaos because you don't have systems and processes in place yet. So one of the things we do is we're very, very clear in goal planning and vision planning on where we're at right now and where we want to go and what we need to do to get there, but more importantly, who we need to become to get there. And so before I hand this off to Michelle, because she's just going to jump right into how she deploys this, I want to give you guys I want to give you something that you can take with you in regards to when I set up these business planning and goal setting workshops with real estate agents. This is how I open every single one of them. I want to get participation. I want to get people talking, but I want to get people being real with themselves. And so I always open with this after I, welcome them and everything. I'll say, okay, real quick, turn your piece of paper over to blank side. And I want a show of hands. How many times have you set a goal in life? Whether it be to lose weight, to quit drinking, to quit smoking, to close more transactions. How many times have you set a goal in life and you didn't hit it? Okay, all the hands go up, including mine, okay? Okay, so let's have a discussion. Depending on how big the event is, if there's tables, we're gonna do some table work, we're gonna do some group work, and I wanna write down why. Why didn't we hit that goal? What got in the way of us hitting that goal? What got in the way of us losing that weight? Okay? And so we're writing down all the things. It could be mentally, it could be physically, it could be whatever. We're going to write, and I call them excuses, because that's all they are. They're excuses. So we do a little bit of table work and we recognize why we didn't hit our goals, why most New Year's resolutions die, right? Most people, I mean, it's an ugly stat. It's like the 90 percentile range. New Year's resolutions fail within the first 3 months. If you don't believe me, go to a health club. Packed in January, still busy in February. By the first week of March, I got my stair climber back at 5 a.m., right? I hate it. Every year, I'm there at 4:55 to get my stair climber, the one I like. And I get pissed off every January because some knucklehead wants to come in and wants to change their life. And they last on that stair climber for about a month, maybe. Okay, so we do a little bit of table work and we find out the reasons why. And then I bring them back. And this is where we get to talk about kind of how important the mental side of goal setting is, where we talk about where you're currently at right now, where you want to go, and then I have them write down who and what do you have to become in order to be that person. If you're going to double your business, you have to become a completely different real estate agent, a completely different loan officer. So what does that mean? And we have a little bit of a discussion around that. And then I close with this as we launch into business planning. The number one reason, and you wrote down all these excuses and all these reasons why people don't hit their goals. The number one reason why people don't hit their goals, and you can talk to, this is proven from psychologists to scientists to very, very, very intelligent people. We're focused on the goal instead of the process. And I learned this outside of business. So back when I was a college baseball player, and then I got through the college baseball ranks and the semi-pro ranks, and then turned that into a career. And I got some really high-level coaching from very, very smart coaches and professional athletes. And now you're seeing it all over the internet. Focus on the process, buy into the process. The process is king. It's the truth. The reason why people don't hit their goals is they're focused on losing 50 pounds. 50 pounds is a huge, huge mountain when you haven't worked out before and you haven't eaten a salad in 2 years, right? It's tough, okay? And so instead of focusing on the 50 pounds, instead of focusing on the 50 units, instead of focusing on not drinking alcohol or stop consuming alcohol, in the moment where your feet are every single day, what are the processes? What are the things that I need to do to control that behavior today? Not a year from now, the 50 pounds, it's today. And so what Michelle's going to talk about, what I talk about in business planning, is we get really specific on the number, because you got to have the goal. You got to have the goal. You have to be aware of where you're going, right? Remember, we're plugging in GPS coordinates. We know where we're at and we're plugging in where we're going. So we know where we're going. We know what the goal is, but there's a lot of steps between now and achieving that goal. And so we focus on the process. We focus on the daily activities. We focus on the books we need to read, the mindset we need to have. And if you get that correct and you focus on, hey, today, you all heard of 75 Hard, the challenge by Jocko. The reason why 75 Hard works for the ones that it works for, and the reason why it doesn't work for others, is because others focus on 75 days, the 75th day. I've done 75 Hard 3 times and I've completed it 3 times. You win at 75 Hard when you just, hey, it's just day 1. Did I do all the things I was supposed to do? Check it off. Cool. I'm going to get up tomorrow morning and I'm going to do it again. And I focus on day 2, not day 75. So I wanted to start off today, you guys. This has been completely eye-opening for me as I teach this to loan officers and realtors. I have 2 kids, talking to my kids about accomplishing goals and doing great things too, and whatever they're trying to do, whether it be sports or in life. And we got to take less focus. You got to know where you're going, but the focus needs to be on where your feet are today in the moment and what we have to do today. And at the end of the day, did my activities today get me one step forward to losing that 50 pounds, one step forward to closing those 50 units? And that's key.
Yeah, so reminds me of a great book. If you guys haven't read the book, 4 Disciplines of Execution, 4DX, it's written by Sean Covey, who's Stephen Covey's son, plus a couple other folks. But it talks about exactly what you're talking about here, Dan, right? The goal for the 75 days, or the goal for the 50 pounds, or for the 50 units is a lag indicator. That's going to happen down the road. And you're talking about, you're focusing on the lead indicator. What do I have to do today? What is going to actually lead me to hit that goal down the road? And I think that is so important. So if you're looking for some inspiration or a good book to read, that one's really one that breaks it down. It talks about the whirlwind we all get stuck in, which are the excuses that you talked about when you had your realtors make that list. And it's just a great concept. And people get scared to go in and do what Dan does, right? I always talk to all of you and you're like, well, that's Dan Keller. Of course he can go in and teach a real estate class. You've got the tools, right? You're going to have the tools today after you hear Michelle talk. Dan's already kind of set you up to how to roll it out. And then you could even just go in and teach Michelle's framework, or out of the book, 4 Disciplines of Execution. But that's a great opportunity. So, all right, let's bring on Michelle, Dan.
Yeah. And speaking of mental toughness, one of the most mentally tough people I know, one of the brightest people in real estate that I know, she's been on stage at the Modern Mortgage Summit. So let's hand it over. Michelle Wilson, take it away.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. And I'm excited. And, yeah, the focal point, I think, leading our organization the way we do as a coaching, sales, training organization, it's the daily process. It's our daily activities. It's our daily habits. And I think the biggest part on top of all of that is accountability. And that's something we hold very, very strong with our team. We start every single day at 7:30, really 7:29 in the morning, with our team, boots on the grounds, and drive that through every single day consistently. We haven't missed a beat. Dan, we talk about this all the time, with even that morning call that we run, starting out with our group for 10 years now. 10 years, we show up as leadership in the trenches with our agents. And so what I want to kind of package for you guys, I'm going to do a kind of a condensed version, but you'll have everything that you need. I actually, every single year in October, do a 2-part business planning workshop. I call it a workshop because it's hands-on. We help them actually break everything down from the mindset to what pillars they need to put in place, to the actual plan itself, and then executing it, but broken all the way down to what am I doing every single day, and then the accountability behind it. And the objective for as loan officers that we work with all the time is how to actually help you integrate as a partner into your agents' businesses. Because that's the thing that they're missing, right? Is they go to things, they go to business planning, they maybe set these goals, but they don't actually break it down to a process. And they don't have partners and accountability partners aligned with them that are helping them tangibly accomplish those goals every day. And it is that daily process, I guess, if that makes sense. And so I'm going to give you guys, again, I'm going to do a kind of a mini version of all of it, but I'm going to go through a really short slide deck that's kind of emphasize the core pillars of our business that impact all of us, as well as all of the handouts and worksheets that kind of flow that I go through. And I'll give you kind of a mini version, a hybrid version today. And then you guys will get literally the recording of how we walk agents through mapping out those numbers to what they're doing on a daily basis, even all their tracking systems, everything that we do to kind of deploy all of that. So you guys will have recorded pieces of it, plus all the material, so you can actually take that framework and integrate. Again, the objective is, how do we integrate in with our agents and help them with tangible things in their business that's going to help them have growth, help them close more deals, help them create more income, and the solutions in their business. So that's the objective with all of you guys today. I think before I kick off, and again, I'm going to go fast, so bear with me. I'm a fast talker, and I'll leave you guys at the end with some things as well, is even just, I think it's just so powerful, right? When we think about the market we're in and how many have struggled. And I talk about this, Dan, every single, week on our master classes, because we're highlighting those that are having so much success, right? They're having their best year. They're whether they're new in the business or been in the business 10, 20 years, it doesn't matter. But the agents that are thriving at such a high level, same with loan officers, and so many that are struggling, right? And something that I wrote down that I feel was powerful is the market has disciplined those that cannot discipline themselves. And when I always circle back to business planning and our goal setting and our intentions and what do we really want, it comes down to discipline, right? And it really does, right? It's true. The market has disciplined those that cannot discipline themselves. And so we talk about struggle for a second here. I love this because we're really big on just embracing that struggle, right? And this is what builds our strength. This is what builds our character, our perseverance. It takes struggle to have success. So I just wrote down 5 really quick points for you guys that I want you to write down on struggle. Okay. Number 1, you have to take responsibility for your own life, right? Because you are the problem and you are the solution. This is, Dan, where we eliminate the excuses, right? You are the problem and you are the solution. We take 100% responsibility. Number 2, if you're not struggling, you're not going anywhere, right? And part of the things I talk about with goal setting is the problem is too many people are sitting around not excited enough to get up and do something about it every day, right? Dan, they're not hungry and driven towards something to be at the gym at 4:30, 5 a.m. every single day. They haven't figured out what's going to motivate them enough, right? So if you're not struggling, you're not going anywhere. Because if you are, you're creating that resistance, and struggle creates muscle, right? Number 3, you're just simply not hungry enough. Most people, when they're just sitting in that position where they're struggling, they're not desperate enough, right? Their dreams, their goals are too small. Because when you do have new goals, this creates new questions and this creates new actions, okay? Number 4, frustration is the precursor to breakthrough. So this is where we dig deep because we coach all of our agents, right? Not only in group settings, but individually. We have to be able to really dig into that frustration because that's when we're going to find that breakthrough. And number 5, this is something that's really, really important to me. And I'll talk about that as we kind of run through this session. You are not swinging the bat enough. It's as simple as that. You are where you are today, good or bad, simply because of how much you're swinging the bat. You're not getting up to bat enough to get really, really good, to get really dialed in on setting appointments, on converting your leads, on working your database, on setting listing appointments, on converting your buyers. You're not up at bat enough. And so we'll talk about that and what we're doing. So what are your goals? What's your vision? What are you going to do today? Kind of breaking all that down again to simplifying it to what we're doing on a daily basis. So difference between top producers and everyone else is because we go out where the focus is crystal clear, right? So even the start to my PowerPoint that I'll launch here for a few slides, it's build, master, and execute. And we're executing on a level that's going to shape our business, impact our communities, and it's going to exceed the goals that we set. We have to elevate the standards that we have. And to achieve this, we have to respect and dominate in the core pillars, which is I'm going to launch into now. The challenge we have, I think, as people and most people, is that we just go halfway, right? We don't go all in on what we're trying to accomplish. We don't go all in on what we do. You have to go 100% on every area or you get left behind. And I go back to what this market has been like the last couple of years for most people in our industry, right? For most people in our industry, you have to go all in. And this workshop, again, it's designed to give agents a system to win. And honestly, kind of it bakes into everything that we do, you know, for all of us in our industry. So I'm going to share screens. Give me 1 second here.
So you guys can all see why we're so excited that Michelle is here, right? I mean, I already have a page of notes. I can see Dan. You guys can only see the speaker talking. I can see Dan. He's writing away. And so, Michelle, keep going. You're just, you're crushing it.
My bright screens just went dark. So this is the dark slide deck. Can you guys all see it on like the main screen? Just want to make sure I'm sharing it correctly.
Yep,
okay. So
good.
Just to dive in. So again, I'm going to touch on a lot of this is going to be, this is the core pillars that we have to build around in our business period. Okay. For all of us. And that's what I want to highlight real quick here. And then I'm going to go away from sharing screens and pull up all these worksheets and go into the tangible. So number 1, when I talk about pillar number 1, it's mastering yourself. Right. And so what do I mean by that? Success begins and ends with you. And 2025 will be the year to become the best version of yourself. Dan, you're just talking about that, right? It's what are you doing to be that version of yourself? You have to commit now, okay? Making unbreakable commitment, right? The greatest obstacle for your success, it isn't the market, right? It isn't our buyers. It isn't all the changes that went on with NAR. No, it's you. That is our biggest obstacle, right? It starts and ends with us. So we have to understand that. And then creating a winning mindset. I think the biggest thing here, you know, is understanding our mindset is the driver. It does start with our mindset, right? Our mindset is what attracts everyone to us, right? Dan, with what you do, it's what attracts you. Todd, this incredible organization you guys have invited me to that I've gotten exposure to several times now. It attracts the people that are working with you guys, right? That confidence attracts our clients. And when you have that mindset, it's what thrives under pressure. A losing mindset is what gives up. And so when you have changes in the market, when you look at leveling up each year, as we should, that's the point of running a business, it's going, okay, what are we doing and what am I going to do and how am I doubling down, especially when times get tough. And living with that concrete intention, right? And so I use that word a lot about being intentional. And this is what the takeaway I want you guys to write down, right? Random efforts lead to random results. Random efforts lead to random results. This is, again, going back to intention. You wake up with intention, with purpose, right? You show up to every appointment knowing you're getting to the deal intentionally, right? Every call is an opportunity, right? Every hour you invest into your skills is going to pay dividends. And we'll talk about the skills, okay? So an action item, and again, this is a really cool thing. I'm just kind of running through it because I think this applies to every single one of us, but this is a great exercise to do with our agents, right? So here's an action item. Write down your personal non-negotiables for the year. And I talk about this as just setting your standards, right? We should be leveling up our standards and refusing to budge on those no matter what. And we need to reset those every single year. What are those minimum standards? All right, skill mastery. Okay, so going to the second pillar in our business is definitely
Hey, Michelle.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? Interrupt you real quick. Are you able to go back?
Yeah.
So just for people that are going to teach this, this is unbelievable. I love what you just said. Random efforts lead to random results. I wrote that down. I'm going to put that up on our board here. That's relevant to loan officers too. You know, Are you on offense or are you on defense when you wake up? But when you do this action, when you're writing down your standards, your non-negotiables, are you asking them to select 3? Is this 5? Like, what's kind of like a magic number of how many?
I think 3 is kind of the magic number. Yeah.
Okay.
If I was sitting
Cool.
down with them, I would see write down 3.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. So pillar number 2, guys, in all of our business is skills. Okay. We are in a skills business. This is your leverage, right? Because the higher the skill, the easier it is to win deals, right? The easier it is to get listings, the easier it is to convert, the easier it is to negotiate deals, period, right? So skills is your leverage. So you have to master your craft. You should be working on your sales, your negotiations, your communication skills every single day. Again, you guys heard what I was opening with. Every day. Every day. I talk about this all the time about that sales training that we run. It isn't something that you just get good once. Now you've got the skill down, Dan, right? Dan, you're already in good shape and health. Why are you still going to the gym every day at 5, right? It's something you continue to condition every single day, every single year. And it's something you constantly continue to pivot around what the market's doing. And I think that's one of the reasons why we have so much success and results with our agents and with our organization, right, is because we're training with them on the sales skills of the relevant conversation today. And that conversation may very well pivot tomorrow, right? It absolutely did just a couple of weeks ago. And the couple of months before that, and the couple of months before that, we're constantly pivoting and shifting that sales conversation on a daily basis, right? So we're leveling up that sales skill. And I just wrote this on here. If not closing 30 plus deals a year, you need to be leveling up, right? You need to be leveling up your skills. High performers put in hours every day mastering their craft, period. High performers are experts in what they do and they master their sales processes. And I go back to kind of just that structured practice and accountability, right? Mastery is achieved through consistent, focused practice. We always teach this with our agents, right? Treat practice like your $1 million appointment. This is, again, one of the reasons why that sales training we run in the morning, which is just one tip of the spear of the things that we do with our agents, but it's how we start our morning off. It's on the Breakfast Club. It's for real estate agents. I heard there was something like that for the mortgage side. This is our Breakfast Club that we've run for 10 years for the real estate industry, right? It's so effective because the industry doesn't provide this, right? It's structured, consistent, focused practice. Every single agent that has ever come on with us has never been a part of something like this before because it doesn't exist, right? We don't have that daily structured focused time where that's what we're focusing on. We're perfecting our skills. So action item that we should be applying with all of our agents, right? Identify the weakest skill. It could be in prospecting. It could be in the conversations. It could be in the listing presentation. It could be in the buyer presentation. It could be in closing. There's multiple things this could be in, right? But we need to identify, and I have a whole worksheet I'm going to work with you guys on the things that they need to work on for their weaknesses. Identify what's weakest and then commit to a 90-day plan. And more specifically, Dan, what I mean when I say this 90-day plan, meaning every single day. So let's pretend you're really weak at your listing conversion, Dan, for example, right? We got you where you're generating appointments, you're going on them, and your weak link right now is actually converting the appointment to a signed contract, okay? That 90-day plan that we're going to work on is every day. Like, you're going to practice your listing presentation at a scheduled time every single day. That's actually creating something tangible enough with accountability that watch what's going to happen 90 days from now. They're going to give themselves a 2x, 3x, 4x raise in 90 days with the same time spent just from mastering that one skill. All right. Lead generation. Okay, so this is basically the oxygen of our business, right? Without it, we're dead. This is our lifeblood. Everything starts with lead generation. It is the focal point. If we are not generating business every day, we are not in business, period. And I don't care what the sources are to our business, because there's many, many different ways we can create our business. If you don't have a way to create business, you do not have a business. So number one, I love this. Treat your lead generation like your number one client. This is your most important aspect of our entire business. And I put in here, don't just aim for consistency, aim for mastery. This is our job. It's to generate for our business. Number two, being able to scale our efforts. This goes beyond the basics, but again, taking massive action to scale it. So what do you think we've been doing with agents as we've been working with them? Now we look at, what were you already doing this year, Todd, right? Like, what worked for you? What were the results? What was happening? A lot of this is just increasing that action. We know that to maintain and to increase what we were doing these last couple of years, we had to do more work. If you track and measure what we're doing, we'll talk about all that, because I'm going to give you guys some tools you can give to your agents. This is how you create that control in your business, right? But it's getting agents to double down, not just being okay with, well, this is what I'm doing, I'm just going through the motions, right? What work does it require, and how do we scale it with our effort that we put in? So action item that I put here, that I will, again, I'm going to be doing some worksheets on all of these. Identify 2 new pillars, okay, that they're going to master very specifically. This is where agents get excited about the shiny toy. I'm going to touch on this even more on the worksheet that I bring up. I'm really big on diving really, really deep and partnering with your agents on what they're already doing that works for them. Okay. And what I mean by that is we get distracted by so many shiny toys, so many things we can do. And I'm going to do 5 more things this year. That's not how you're going to get good, right? We get good by drilling down on what we're already doing that works for us, because every single person out there, we can exponentially get more out of what they're already doing. And I have a whole worksheet on that we'll come to in a few here. But then we need to look at, what are the 2 pillars that I need to add to my business? And I'm going to focus on mastering those 2 pillars. Adding 2 more spokes into our lead generation. And the kicker here that everyone needs to highlight and write down, this is everything that I'll teach across the board. They have to be both predictable and duplicatable. And what do I mean by that? We have to know that if we do this, we get this, and I can repeat it time and time again. I'll talk about the differences of those 2 with the worksheet. Having a follow-up system.
Hey, Michelle, can you give a quick example of that? Like, if someone's talking to a realtor, like, what would be one example of something that I saw the FISBO and some other stuff on there, but can you give a real life example?
Perfect. So I'll give a real world example would be, so I'm going to give, so for me, some of the top pillars in our business that converts for real estate agents, period. I'll expireds and canceleds, for sale by owners, circle prospecting, our database. I know, right? And this will be a little bit different. We work with our agents that don't already do this or don't already know their numbers on the averages, because we have all the average metrics out there to base it off of. We know that if we do this, we get this. We know. And the reason I bring that up is because I could be dropped in a helicopter. Really, any of my agents that chime, I could be dropped in a helicopter in a new market tomorrow. And it's not that, well, I was an agent for 20 years in my previous market, right? I had built up a database in a sphere. I had built up market share in those communities, right? You cannot replicate those results this month, this next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months in a new market. It's not possible, right? With the duplicatable measures where you can actually go after these sources that I'm talking about with expireds, canceleds, for sale by owner, circle prospecting, I can recreate those exact same results in a brand new market tomorrow. That would be an example of a predictable, duplicatable process. Other ways, I'll just use an example of take things even like mailers, right? We do deals through mailers. It's a little bit less predictable, right? And it's going to take a lot more time. Even things that we might do on social media, which we need to be doing, a little bit less predictable, more passive. It's going to take more time. So that would be 2 extreme examples of those, if that helps.
Awesome. Thanks.
Okay. A follow-up system that closes. We know that 80% of our appointments are going to be booked from follow-up. So we have to have a precise follow-up system in place. Build an unstoppable follow-up system. So again, we have to define what that means for us. We need to have a plan. We have to stay consistent. We want to leverage automation, but I'm also really big on this, is that we have to make sure we control our personal touches as well. We're not in a world where we just leverage AI and our bots and our automation. I think it's absolutely imperative, though, that we are tracking what we do, meaning our database, our leads, our clients, our appointments, they have to be in a system. We have to be consistent in it. We have to put them in a preset disposition and action plan. We leverage the technology that's there for us today to give us leverage in all of those touches, but we have to make sure we personally are still staying on top of them, right? And again, this goes back to tracking and measuring, which I'm going to give you guys some tools that you can work on with agents. This is something we work on every single day that our agents literally report and are accountable with us, the ones that want to, right? Because they know how many touches it's going to take to create a lead, how many touches it's going to take to create an appointment, how many appointments it's going to take for a signed contract, buyer side, seller side. This is all a system, right? And it doesn't work if these processes aren't airtight and being followed. Another thing when it comes down to follow-up, I don't think this is new to anybody, right? But it's having that top 10 list, right? Our hottest leads literally can make or break our quarter, right? This can make or break how we finish our year. Deals our agents put together today are still going to pay out in December. And it's a big conversation I had with them yesterday, right? It's not just building up, obviously, the production and the momentum for our January, our February, our March. Deals we put together today are going to close out before the end of the year. So we're having them keep the foot on the gas, right? And they need to keep their hottest leads in front of them at all times, doing this one thing, calling them daily, having that urgency. This will lead to creating, making or breaking that difference in production, literally just for this year in 2024. So that's a big thing that I push for our agents. A lot of them are pushing for certain metric goals. You better believe we're hot on them on what they're doing every single day, because what they're doing today still counts for 2024. And so that would be an action item right there, right? Identify your current top 10 leads and creating a system where you're following up with them every single day.
That applies to you loan officers as well.
All of us, right? I think all of us. Okay, I'm going to try to speed this along here because I want to make sure I can get through all the worksheets. But scheduling, right? I call this your contract to success, right? If your schedule is weak, your results are going to be weak, right? It's our most valuable asset is our time, right? 80% of our schedule. So this is a struggle point. You guys are going to laugh. But so any of the agents that I coach personally, I force them to do this, and not just one time. I force them to do this along the way through, even quarterly, maybe even at minimum once a year. Is I will make them do a time assessment, a time log, where I'll make them track what they're doing. Because how many agents out there tell us how busy they are, but they're closing like 5 deals a year? How many people? Like, the less deals we do, the busier we are. Is that not true? It's literally what it's like. Okay. The less deals we're doing, the more busy we are. Okay. 80% of our time should be focused on money-making activities, period. And this is what I always break down with agents, right? It should be focused on lead generation, follow-up, skill building, going on appointments. You guard that with your life. That is the that's the ritual, right? We do not break any of those. Anything else that doesn't contribute to growth, that needs to be eliminated. And that's what we work on with these guys, is really dialing in where are they spending time, where it's a waste of time and they're not actually creating business. Because we can all have a full-time job just doing busy work and servicing our business. All of us can. Okay. Creating accountability, right? An unaccountable schedule is a wish list. Again, partner with someone who will hold you to your schedule and do the same for them. This is a non-negotiable if you want results. So going all the way back, like I was talking about with accountability, agents need this. The reason why we have such strong results with our group is because we are an accountability organization. We are dialed in on accountability with every single one. The agents lack that, you guys. And I can't emphasize that enough as I go into these worksheets, where you know exactly what their goals and intentions are, and you help them establish that, and you help them with tactical things that you can do to have growth in their business, which would also for you as well, and insert yourself as that accountability partner to help them get what they want. They need this, every single one of them. So this is, for me, this is a requirement, is to establish that accountability, because that's what most of us lack. That's what most people are missing to get the goals that they want. So build out a schedule. Again, I call it that 80% rule, because most agents don't operate off a schedule, first of all, right? That's number one. Number two is and I'll give you guys kind of a rule of thumb here. If you control your day till noon and master that morning, this is nothing new that we haven't heard of, right? And get our lead generation done and our follow-up all before noon, the rest of the day will work itself out.
Well, that's why this logo on my shirt, Michelle, it says win by noon. See?
Yes. And I've actually
There
seen
we
that many
go.
times. But that's how it goes. It's the same thing with our agents, guys. But here's the deal. They don't do it unless they're that dialed in, right? And hopefully they've got there's great coaching systems out there. They're on a great team. They're working with people like us that put them into that structured regiment. They don't do it. They don't have a schedule. They don't know what that means. They're on their emails and they're working on their escrows first thing in the morning. Every single agent. And they're on the MLS and they're just sending out houses. Okay. They are not creating business, which is the most important part of the day. But I always say that, right? If you can control your day till noon, the rest of it will work itself out. Accountability equals execution. That's my little phrase there that I love so much. That's why accountability is so important. Okay. And last thing with here, it's just having that, I always talk about, we don't do this alone, right? You create momentum, right? Momentum creates champion. I love organizations like here we are with everyone today. You guys are a part of this group because that's how you win championships, right? You participate in championship culture. You are around like-minded people. You need the energy, you need the competitiveness, right? You need the support. Everyone in your circle has to be fully dialed in. So that's why I love being able to be involved in communities like this, where we can push each other, we can call out our weaknesses, we can praise our successes. And again, no negativity, right? It's how are we building each other up? And we've all heard this, right? Rising tides lifts all boats, right? When you can put yourself in a position where you're leading by example, work on yourself first, you're leading by example, right? This is the key to not only your own success, is just helping others, right? Dan, how much does it help you in your own business that you lead and help and coach other people to build and hold to the same standards that you do?
Yeah, you get better as you teach. It's crazy. I did that as a college baseball coach. It was like, and of course I was younger, but at 23, 24 years of age, I had a better swing than when I was playing semi-pro ball and college ball as I was teaching at the college level, teaching hitting at the college level. It's the same thing in our industries. When you're in the trenches every single day and you're role playing and you're making the calls with them, and then you're dealing with other people bringing objections to the table and their pains and things that are getting in the way of their success, you all get better. So you're 100% right. The rising tide analogy is so accurate.
And so the action item on this is identify 3 ways you can contribute to building a culture of winning in your organization. So something really cool, and I get asked this all the time, even within my EXP organization, because they're very different from one to the next, right? And they're like, how do you create that culture? How do you have all these other people leading and running? We run about 35 hours of live interactive sales, production-based coaching and training a week. All different, right? Some of it's for new licensees, some of it's for teams, some of it's for marketing and lead generation, some of it's for accountability, some of it's for sales skills, some of it's for sellers, some of it's for buyers. You guys get my drift, right? It's all these different pieces. That's not all led by me, right? And it's this whole organization, but this is where our agents, right, because have stepped up and they're looking at how can I contribute? How can I contribute back to the group to help other people be held accountable, to grow, to thrive in a niche that maybe I'm good at or they have a skill set at? Or simply to, again, they want to hold themselves accountable because they know if they do that, they're going to show up every day, every week. They're going to do the check-in. It's the same concept. So we're really big on that, creating that culture within our own organization. So our agents step up to lead by example or drive something to hold themselves accountable, knowing that it's going to help they're helping others and it's going to help them. And so I'll just end with this, right? Whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, right? Goals are nothing without execution, which takes us to this more tangible process, which is what I'm going to kind of walk you guys through. So I'm going to end this really dark slide deck real quick here. Let me stop share for a moment. And I'll give that
all right, you guys, how you all need to shake out your hands, right? I see people talking about Dean's like, all right, this is gold. I can't write fast enough. And so, I mean, just think about this, right? You've got a great framework that Michelle just presented on how you can not only do this for yourself, but you can work with your agents on it. And then now she's going to give us the worksheets to actually implement it. So love that.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you guys, and again, this is kind of like the bootleg version for all of you. I will give you the full recorded sessions of what I go through with these guys. So you can take that and you can see like the more in-depth walkthroughs that literally you can just copy, right? I have the entire, like the coach's notes to it. This is kind of what I give away to our guys to work with. So the first thing I'm going to put for guys, so the tools to build these plans, right? So we got to make a decision. We got to make a plan. So let me pull this up. I put the biggest skill we can learn is how to generate leads. Okay. So I wrote this down again, whether it's through prospecting or marketing. And this goes back to what I was talking about with that predictability and duplication, Todd, right? Because you could lose everything, you could build it back up. You could be dropped into any market and you can still build your business if you track and measure what you're doing and you have an actual predictable, duplicatable business that you're running. You can, again, you can lose it all and you can build it right back up. You can go somewhere new, you can build on. This is what gives us the control and duplicatability. This is the number one lacking thing. I don't know if this is like all industries wide, but for real estate agents, for sure, their number one challenge. So what I do is I work with agents all day long, every day. I guess in the same capacity that you guys are, right? But I'm working with agents all day, every day. I have for 20 years, right? This is their number one challenge. I don't have control, right? This is their fear. And this is also for good producing agents. We're not talking about just someone maybe that's a low producer or struggling or is getting started. These are for very seasoned veteran agents. Their number one fear and challenge is I don't have control, right? They don't have enough pillars that are also predictable and duplicatable in their business. So they just ebb and flow with the market and they go through a lot of stress, right? Most of these guys have taken a 50%, if not 75% pay cut this last year and the year before, right? Because they don't have ways to increase already in what they're doing and create more control and predictability. And so that's always the conversation. So when we work on, I'm going to pull up these different worksheets that I work on with these guys. And so there's going to, I think I have like 6 of them that I'm going to bring up. These are all powerful tools, you guys, that you can pull up and integrate with all of them. So the first one, I have them already here. Just give me a sec, because I'll share the whole screen. Okay, so this is one of my favorites, and I want to spend a moment on this one. Hold on, let me share the screen again. Okay, now I'm just kind of showing the open screen. Can you guys all see it okay?
We can.
So I want to deep dive on this one just for a moment because it's important. So this is the one that I call reflections. I also call it reality, right? This is so important. This is a prerequisite to building our plans for 2025. It is a prerequisite, hands down, period. You have to assess and dissect and look at the reality of where you're at right now, everything that happened. And so Dan, you were kind of touching on all of this, but I want to highlight some things that I work on with my agents, right? So obviously really breaking down with them, what are every source of their business, every single deal they did in 2024, where did it come from, right? Every single one of them. I want to see all of them, all the one-offs. I want to see all of it, right? And we have to ask a lot. I look at the reality, right? We have to ask those be honest questions. How much time did you actually spend in those sources, right? What changes do I need to implement to generate even more from these sources? Now I'll pause there at number 3, okay? Because, so here's the deal. 90% of real estate agents' business comes 90% from their database, right? Their past clients, their centers of influence. This is 90% of the industry, okay? However, you ask the question, did your business, number 4, was your business by design or by accident? It's one of the first things I dissect when I'm doing a launch call with an agent that I start working with, okay, in my organization. Because they're automatically, whatever time of the year they're joining, we're doing their business plan, right? What do you guys think the answer is? Was my business by design?
Accident.
Accident. And I don't care how much volume they're doing, guys. I have agents that sell 100 homes a year. Now, are they've got better systems and processes than most? Yes. This is still for almost everyone. When I say 90%, I'm being generous, right? Their business is accidental. It just came to them. I asked them and Dan, I know you dig deep with your agents on your 6x12 program with them, right? Because when you ask them this simple question, great, you're doing 20 deals a year, 10 deals a year, 40 deals a year right now from your database, from your past clients, from your centers of influence. What systems and processes are you running on top of your database? 90% are doing little to nothing. Okay, just so you guys know, they are reactive. They are reactive to the business. They were beneficial enough to have been in for many years now where people like them. They have good business coming in. They are not actually proactively working and running a system on their database alone. And I'm emphasizing this because this is like the common sense core of all of our businesses. Agents struggle here, always have. Okay. And so just by, it's not just what's the next thing, where else can we get more deals? Just by asking them these simple questions, you can help them. Dan, I'm going to say this lightly because it is actually true. You can literally help them double the number of deals they do out of their database, which is where most of their deals are coming from anyways. It's where they're already good. It's what they're already comfortable at. They just don't know what to do, and they don't have a system and process they can run that provides predictable, duplicatable results. Okay. So this is where this is your opportunity to go deep with them, because I'm telling you right now, that is the challenge for all of them, most of them. Okay.
Well,
So it's
loan officers, look at your databases too. If we didn't have Michelle on, that's what Dan and I were going to dig in on. And I'm gonna share in chat. Dave just posted a LinkedIn today, something on database and on the fact that your clients on average have $400,000 worth of home equity. That's the average home equity in a home right now. There's over $30 trillion of it. So Dave did a quick Dave video with his buffers on really some strategies to help people with their home equity. And so again, if you're looking for a reason to call your database, look at that. And all that we've done here, that we've talked about the reasons you can all call your database.
Yeah. And so really looking like very specifically, what changes do I need to implement to generate more from what I'm already doing, right? It starts there from my perspective. And then I go all the way to number 5, which is, what are the 2 sources to add this coming year? Again, that need to be both predictable and duplicatable. And then I think number 6, these are all important, right? Why didn't I work these in the past? And I'll give you guys examples of real life conversations of, for example, if they want, because every agent wants more listings, okay? It's an easy conversation. That's my niche and expertise. That's what we do. We run a massive listing organization because it drives all the business for everything else. Every agent, guess what they want? They want more listings, okay? But when you ask them, why wouldn't you work those sources and really dig in with them? The hang up typically is, guys, they're not confident. They're not comfortable. They don't know what to say. Hence, going all the way back to what we can. So we're dissecting the root of like, well, why wouldn't you do that, right? On many different sources. There's lots of different reasons, but it's going deep in detail on what their hangups were and what their challenges were for not actually going after what they're trying to do. Dan, like what you were talking about, right? Kind of deep diving on that. So there's a whole worksheet here. I see someone's hand raised. Do you want me to?
Yeah, if you guys have a question, just throw it in the chat. That would be the most efficient way to get it.
Todd, I'll let you maneuver that. This is a whole worksheet, guys, that actually even goes even deeper. I'm not going to go through it. You guys will have all of this. But really, really awesome exercise. Again, for me, this is the prerequisite of knowing exactly where they're at before you can work on where they're going to go. And one of the other things I'll just give you guys as a teaser here, just so I don't forget, when we talk about a pillar in their business that lacks for most everyone, it's something that I call circle prospecting. It's kind of a common term in the industry, just most don't do it in the way that we teach it. And Dan, this is one of the deliverables we'll also talk about if people can get access to. It's creating more business on the business they're already doing. This is a really, really simplified way that, again, if you ask every agent what they're doing on top of their deals they're already doing to create more business, it's going to be little to nothing, okay? So we can teach them very, very simple things to take them from, I'm just gonna use basic examples. They're a 12 deal a year agent, right? There are multiple things just in what they're doing right now where we can increase those 12 deals because it's mostly coming from their database, right? We already know they're not doing anything, as well as take those 12 deals and teach them a really simple integrated process called circle prospecting that should create another transaction, another lead at the very least off of every deal they're doing. They're already doing the business. Why would they not maximize those returns? Those are very, very simple things we can do with agents just on top of what they're doing already. Okay, let me pull up. Another worksheet that I'll give you guys, here it is. Okay. So this is, I love this. It's just a really simple worksheet. I actually usually have them do it. This is just to make it visual on one screen. So it's really, really simple. I actually have them do it live on a piece of paper. I think this is important. Again, what motivates someone to actually get up and take action? They're not intentional because they don't have something they're actually really striving for that matters to them, right? We all know this. This goes back to our why. I love this exercise as something we do. I can't remember, Todd, if you said it or Dan. Like, this is an exercise to do with your spouse. This is an exercise to do with your family. One of the things I always talk about is the pain of letting myself down. For some people, that's not painful enough. The pain of letting your family down and the people that you love the most, a lot of times that's a lot harder accountability because it's a lot more painful, right? To let others down than it is to let ourselves down. And so get people involved. But you have to, this is an exercise. This is like an open exercise where you have to spend 30 minutes. You got to get all the thoughts out. It might not be the first couple of things you write down that are exciting to you. It might be something else. It might be something else that your spouse comes up with. You got to figure out the things that you want, the life you want to live, the things that are important to you, And we need to have goals in all aspects of our life, not just I'm trying to sell more houses and make more money, because the money doesn't matter, right? We have to attach what that money means for us. And so again, in our physical, our mental, our spiritual, our family, our money, again, this is just a really simple worksheet. But I do this open form with my agents, and I open session, kind of like Dan, we like break apart and actually spend time, because that's their problem, is they'll hear all this stuff and they go away and they go back to life. Actually spend time figuring out what it is they want and finding a goal that's worthwhile to them, right? So this is an easy worksheet that you guys can work with. Sorry, I'm paying attention to my time here. And then let's pull up. So I also have another thing that I work on with agents, kind of all in the same. Again, this is, for me, I usually do a 2-part workshop. But another thing I really dig in big on, again, is their profitability. So I have a monthly expense, so they know exactly what it takes for them to operate. Also, their business expenses, guys. This is super important. I'm giving you this from me to you to help these guys make sense of their business, because they need it. I will literally sit down with agents, and again, we're looking at the profitability, okay? And I'll be like, I want you to, your home mortgage, you're going to list out all of your expenses for me in your entire business. We pay for things. We pay for 3, 5, 10 different subscriptions, platforms. It's wild to me. These are normal conversations I have every day. Most of them don't even talk to each other. Most of us like, I'm paying for that because I think it's going to help me and I think I'm going to use it. We're not even using half of them, okay? Here's the reality of what I do with agents right away to help them with their profitability. If it's not getting you in front of more clients, we're getting rid of it. Really simple. There's a lot of shiny, we're in the industry of the world of shiny toys are sold to all of us, and real estate agents are the most susceptible, okay? So these are just little simple things that I also insert into business planning, which is understanding their monthly, what it takes, how many deals they need to live comfortably, right? Let alone from their goals, as well as understanding really their expenses. I'm telling you, these guys don't even know what they pay to their companies, okay? Let alone that they're paying for 8 different platforms that they don't even use, let alone that aren't getting them in front of clients. Oh, well, I've been paying that for 3 years because I think it's going to help me. Well, you haven't used it yet. Get rid of it, right? It's not getting you in front of clients and it's not helping you talk to more people. Get rid of it. It does not help you. Okay. You guys are all going to get this template. It's really, really simple. I'll go to the top of it. And because of time's sake, you're going to get a very detailed walkthrough how I help them map out the numbers. And you can see the way I do the math, which then I don't care if you're trying to make 2 million, 500,000, 100,000, you could translate the math, but it's a really simple process, right? It's again, going through an entire recap, expenses and all of what their business was like this year. Of course, what their production goals are for the coming year, right? All the way down to, this is where I get really specific then. Not only building out their dream schedule, I'm just giving you guys some perspective because how to understand our partners. I make them line out their schedule of their life now. I want to know kids, drop off, pick up, personal stuff. I want to know what their world looks like currently, because then we're going to take their goals. We're going to take what exists in their world that's important. I take my daughter to school and pick her up every single day. There will never be another option around that. So my business schedule gets built around that, for example, right? What are your non-negotiables? What are the things in your life that exist? And now we can create a schedule that makes sense where it's 80% focused on income generating activities. But that's just some pointers from me. That's what I work on with agents, not only from creating that perfect schedule that they can't follow. It's let's figure out what goes on in your world first, because we're going to build your schedule around that. Now we're going to create that schedule that hopefully they can hold to 80% of the time, right? And if they do that, they're going to win. This is another exercise I make them do. The challenges and solutions. I do not go through their business plan without them putting some thought into this. What are you dealing with? I'm lazy. I can't wake up. I'm too scared to call my database. I don't know what to say. I don't care what it is. I've got kids. I don't care what the challenge is. They need to think this through in order for us to be able to help them more. So these are exercises that I do to whatever extent someone else would want to do with someone. But it's a really simple, logical, templated out business plan that you guys will have. These are all Word documents. They can be edited, branded, whatever, doesn't matter, changed. These are really, really simple metrics. The other thing that I'm going to give you guys, in addition to this, so now we go through kind of like the prerequisite and the baselines that they need. We walk through their business plan and create an initial plan. It now comes down to the accountability and tracking, right? And so we have a daily tracking sheet, a weekly tracking sheet process, and then also a numbers analyzer that will literally every week they can plug their numbers in. I know you guys have this on the mortgage side, and it will literally show them where they're at, on track to their goals, on pace, every metric in their business, where their weaknesses are. It does everything. Now, that's all fancy. I'm a nerd, so I love stuff like that. It doesn't even matter. It just starts with agents literally tracking what they're doing every day. Because if you can't manage it, you can't measure it. If you can help them start to get control over their business, it will literally change their life. So all the fancy stuff after, like this numbers analyzer, doesn't even matter, but I'll give you guys these tools because they're really, really cool tools that the agents can plug and play, but they don't even matter till we get to them. Todd, do you want to say something?
Well, I feel like we got to, we just have a few minutes left. So let's first, Michelle, you give how everyone can access, since you're going to be kind enough to not just share the tools, but also the video so that they can even dig in deeper, since you took a lot of your long course and you combined it down for us magically in an hour.
So I'm going to give you guys just two things here really quick, and this is the end of it. So two things that'll help your guys' agents. This is also how you can contact me, right? So I talk about that sales call. We just talked about it this morning on that morning breakfast club. This is something, you guys, so we're handling everything is around the how to navigate the holiday conversation. We had 16 agents reach out to us yesterday alone that said, I took what we did today and I was able to set an appointment. I just took a listing today that was going to wait till after the holidays because of what we're working on. This is relevant for all of us as loan officers, all of us, all of our agents in the industry. So I welcome all of you guys to jump on. Just simply shoot me a message and just message me Breakfast Club. I will also put out the whole package of all of this. So Dan and I have it in a bundle, Dan, of where we're going to put it. And then also, Dan, one of the things we talk about when we talk about how to help the agents, and Dan, I'll let you touch on this on kind of what we're doing, and then we'll wrap here. But that's just make sure it's up here. So Michelle Wilson, EXP, that's my handle. If you guys just shoot me a DM there, I'll send you everything, and it's all in a package, and we'll give you guys access to that Breakfast Club. It's open for everybody. It doesn't matter where someone works, where they're at. Anyone can dive in. And then Dan, do you want to touch on this side real quick?
Yeah, real quick. In wrapping up, Michelle and Chad Cooley and I are starting the 60-day burn. It's 60 days, 30 new real estate agent relationships in 60 days. Chad Cooley is going to teach you actually how to make the calls, because Chad Cooley is Michelle Wilson's trainer for their 750 plus agents. He runs the Breakfast Club for their real estate agents every morning at 7:30. Dude changed my life a year and a half ago. So if you're interested in that, click on the QR code, or you can go to roleplay.risemlo.com to learn more. Last week was the intro. It starts this Friday if you guys are interested in joining that. But Michelle, you can go ahead and unshare.
I was just going to say we teach you guys how to insert yourself in with the agents. It's a very, very short session, but with that, you're going to walk away with not only how to create business. So kind of the tag of this is you can create 30 referrals in the next 60 days for 30 agents with not a lot of effort, and teach you to have the confidence with it. Like, how are you going to do that? Because we're going to teach you what the agents aren't doing and the tools that you can use for yourself to create yourself business, and for those agents to win and earn those relationships and integrate yourself into the business. So super, super powerful. We had an amazing week last week with the kickoff.
Yeah. And one of my loan officers in my region did the last 60-day burn. And I mean, you might have updated statistics, but he took that circle prospecting campaign that you teach to your realtors, and our loan officers used it. He used it to deploy it on behalf of the realtors. He generated 11 deals for your real estate agents at EXP down south of Seattle. So the stuff works. It's great. Michelle, thank you so much. Do me a favor and unshare your screen real quick, and we'll wrap up, Todd and I. But what you just got to see from Michelle, there's no wonder why she has 750 plus agents plugging into her community. I learned, like, I got to step it up as a branch manager, Todd. Holy crud. Like, I'm not business planning with my people like this. So this was great. Michelle, thank you so much for your time. And one last thing, like what you saw Michelle do, you guys, most people, most loan officers, most real estate agents, they focus on the branches of their business. When it comes to business planning, it's really weak and superficial. What Michelle's doing with all of these forms, they're going to the root. They're going to the root of the business and really helping build that strong foundation up. So amazing hour. This was great to be a part of this. Todd, I'll let you wrap it up.
Holy smokes. I don't even know how to put a bow on that. You know, Michelle warned us up front. She was going to talk fast. I talk fast. So it was great. Therefore, I know you're all smart. You can all listen fast. And I think the bottom line is this, right? Michelle has offered you her stuff, right? She's offered you what she's teaching, how she's helping agents go. Dan's offered you the opportunity to join him and Chad to really take this next step over the next 60 days and do a 60-day burn. And so I would just encourage you all to take advantage of it. And when you take advantage of that, take the action that they're teaching. Because in the end, if you're not going to get in front of your real estate partners and teach this, in the end, if you're not going to actually do this for yourself first before you start teaching it, and then really hit it hard, you're probably going to end up in that piece where what Michelle said was that was your business by design or by accident? And the bottom line is this: you guys have a path for design. You just have to choose it so that you can do great going forward. So as always, Dave and the whole team at Trust Engine, myself and my team at Win by Noon, Michelle, Dan, thank you so much. This was an amazing 10X Tuesday. We'll see you all on Friday for our mastermind call. And again, next week here on the Mortgage Coach Trust Engine channel. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye, guys.